Welcome to the finale of Season 1 of the Sub 48 project. This is it, the moment we've been training for all year. Two crucial meets stand between my relay team and our shot at Nationals. If we don't perform at the first, our journey ends right there. But if we make it, we face the biggest challenge yet. The stakes could not be higher, and every second counts. In this video, you can follow along as we push through intense workouts, refine our strategies, reach our peaks, and face the pressure head on. It's do or die, and our dream of taking our 4x4 to Nationals is on the line. We started our training 12 days out from the first last chance meet. Our main priorities were to keep our volume pretty light, stay fresh, and work on our race tactics and execution. My secret side priority was to get rid of the tan lines I'd acquired from our conference meet. I was not successful. We also tried to catch up on some of the speed work we'd been missing out on during our busy season, so this first day we came in with a max speed day. I decided to use the app Photo Finish on my phone to record our splits and see how fast we were capable of going at this point in the season. It had been quite a while since we'd done a true max velocity session, and it was a lot of fun to get back into it. Earlier in the year, we hit max speed 1 to 2 times per week, every week, and it paid off massively for my team and me. All of us got significantly faster, and we were running very well in our workouts. Unfortunately, when the indoor season came around, we had to stop training speed for the most part because we don't have an indoor facility. That was when a lot of us started getting hurt and not performing as well in workouts, and we still haven't gotten back to where we were speed-wise. This is a mistake I will not be making in my future training. I'll either drive far away to an indoor track or just go out in the cold and sprint.
You can set up multiple series on your channel now. You can do training a distance runner, and then you can do training an old man.
Instead of sub 48, it's the plus 40 project.
Let me know if you guys want to see the plus 40 project. Anyway, we were doing 30-meter flies and not running as fast as we were hoping to, probably because we weren't super used to this type of workout anymore.
I haven't sprinted in a long time. I felt like I was really powerful. I don't know if I was fast, but I felt powerful.
Good guess.
Oh man. I'm gonna say 307.
308.
Oh. All the way, Russ, let's go.
3.21.
I wonder if the 2 days off threw us off. Is there anything I should focus on my next rep?
I want you guys to work on staying relaxed this week.
Okay.
I focused hard on staying relaxed like coach asked, but I just didn't feel great on this day of training, and that's alright. You can't win them all. .08 was the best I hit this day, and with a current PR of 3.07, I was definitely hoping for better.
That looks good.
Could have done 300s today. No, I'm just kidding.
Look at my elite squad, look what they're doing. 40-second 300s.
I'm still happy with the effort we put in over the session, and it was a fun one. The next training day, we switched things up with a couple of 300s. 300s are great because they give you the feeling and rhythm of a 400, but without the massively fatiguing final 100 meters that cooks you for the next few days.
Body feels pretty off. This will be an interesting one. We have 1 to 2 300s. 1 if we're both feeling bad.
Ready, set, go.
My strategy was exactly like my strategy in the 400. Get out hard for 5 seconds, then ease up slightly, or relax, or float, or whatever term you prefer, for not quite going all out until the 200 meter mark, before building up over the curve for the final push to the finish. I finished this rep quite well and was happy with our time, putting us on pace for a 48 or 49 second 400.
That felt quite a bit better than I expected it to. I felt smooth, controlled. I was able to push it from 2 to 300 without dying off too badly, so it was a very solid rep, I think. He had us at 34 mid, but we'll see. After I check in the video, that'd probably be 35 mid, 36-ish, somewhere around there. We'll probably have 10 minutes or so, and then back out for rep 2.
Look at your tan lines, bro. It's so bad.
Conference was a long day.
Ugh. I'm just so red.
Jeez.
Rep 2 had the same goal as most of my second reps throughout this year: survive. We opened well, but the last 100 meters was brutal. Only dropping off a second between reps isn't too bad.
Good job, man. My feet are on fire.
Track that.
I was dead going into that. I did not think it was gonna go very well, but it did. It went okay. We ran pretty close to the same time as last time. I definitely tied up worse on that one. I was just fighting to stay relaxed and get all the way through. My body wanted me to let up at the last 100, but I tried my best to keep it together. It's a good, solid workout. Nice hot day. It was sick.
On Friday, we were officially 7 days out from the first last chance meet. We had a pretty light day with 3 fast and relaxed 150s with 8 minutes of rest. I apologize in advance for the camera setup. It was the best I could manage on the day of. We didn't time these, but focused heavily on our form and execution of the reps, trying to stay in control the whole way down the track. 150s are an awesome distance for 400 meter guys because we feel like we can push hard the whole way without introducing a large amount of fatigue. Monday came around and we were 4 days out from the biggest meet of our lives. Our current best 4x4 this season was a 3:20.65, and the barrier for making nationals was a 3:14.7. It sounds impossible, but we thought it was doable based on our times. Russell has an open 400 time of 48.5, and usually a relay creates about a 1 second difference because of the rolling start, so he theoretically could run a split of 47.5. Desmond has a 400 time of 49.6, so he should be able to run about a 48.6. I have a 400 time of 49.81, but I split 48.5 at our outdoor conference meet, and Bladen has a split of about 50 flat. That adds up to a 3:14.6, which is exactly what we needed. It would not be easy, but theoretically, it's doable. However, to make it to the second last chance meet, we were pretty sure we just needed to break our school record of 3:17.79, so that was our worst case scenario goal in order to move on. On this day, we were doing a low volume max speed session. We weren't trying to achieve anything crazy and just wanted to touch on speed again before the meet. There was a headwind going one direction on the track, and I don't think we ran anything particularly impressive. I was still focusing a lot on relaxation and trying to avoid tightening up in my face, neck, and shoulders while I sprinted.
Did you feel fast?
No.
Me neither. I felt terrible. We're cutting the workout a little bit short. I'm having some pain and some discomfort, so playing it safe, taking the pain management route. Just gonna rest and recover. Tomorrow will be a light day, and then we're back Wednesday for a heavy day. See you guys there.
2 days out from the first meet, we did a 300 meter race out of blocks.
I feel pretty good.
This is a pretty intense session to do so close to a big race, but keep in mind we weren't technically trying to be 100% fresh for this meet. It was more like 90 or 95% fresh.
It's so hot outside. The heat's just like leaking up from the ground into my spikes.
Set.
It feels good to be in shape and sharp.
Yeah.
That was fun. Felt really strong, especially coming through from 200 to 300. Felt really good. Sounds like we got 150 or 120. But my feet burn.
We'll build off the curve, and I would just work fifth like you're back straight of like your 400.
Okay.
I took the last 100 meter split, which ended up being just faster than 400 meter pace, which is exactly what we wanted.
Ow! Someone to get me a fire extinguisher. That felt really solid. We have to run way faster than we've ever run this weekend, but we got a really good shot. We're in good shape. We're finally peaking. Everyone's ready to go. We'll all be fresh. I think we can pull it off. Once we make it through this, we got one more shot and then nationals.
Lane 8 with a bunch of schools 5 seconds faster. What could go wrong?
We did end up getting moved down to lane 1, which is awesome, but that did not make us any less nervous for this race. It is a crazy feeling going into a meet knowing you have to do your best or your season is finished. We were here competing with some of the best D3 teams in the nation, like Mount Union with a 309 4x4. We were seated last, and it wasn't even close. On the right side, having all the odds against you sets up a really good scenario for PRs, and that's exactly what we were going for. Also, shout out to Ryan, who said he watches my videos and ran a 1:53.800. That is super impressive. I'm not sure if I've ever been as nervous as I was while waiting for this race. It went off at about 8:30 after the sun had gone down, so the temp was in the 50s, which is far from ideal sprinting weather. Bladen got out to a good start here, but he wasn't able to make up ground on the other teams. He ended up pulling back solidly into last place. Coming around the curve, he started putting in work, and swinging into the home straight, he pushed with everything he had and started making up ground on the next team. He split about a 50.3, and we got the handoff in second to last place, and Desmond took off absolutely flying. He runs a 10.6 in the 100 and placed 5th in nationals last year for the 110 hurdles, so you know he's a talented athlete. He entered the back straight looking smooth and fast and pulling up on the teams ahead of us really quickly. He started trying to pass on the inside but got cut off pretty badly, which bounced him back into the guy behind him, causing that guy to drop the baton and completely killing Desmond's momentum. It is so sad thinking about how much time this probably cost us because Des looked like he was going to run something completely insane before this happened. It's very difficult to rebuild momentum once you've lost it, and Des just tried to hold it together down the last straight as the last team started pulling away again. He handed off to Russell with about a 49.5. Seeing the massive gap Russell had to try to close made my heart start pounding even harder than it already was. The feeling of not knowing what was going to happen was hard to deal with. Russ took off like he was on a mission. His strategy is usually to run as fast as possible for 200 meters and try not to die, and he did not break that tradition in this race. 200 meters in, he was still at least 15 to 20 meters behind, if not more. Coming around the curve, he started reeling the other teams in. He wasn't going to catch them, but he definitely shortened the gap and handed off with about a 49 flat. I set my eye on the runner in front of me and got out as hard as I could. I knew we needed my absolute best to have a shot, so I emptied my head and just gave it my all. I tried to stay smooth on the back straight, but I definitely didn't relax as much as I usually do. I wanted to catch this guy for my team. Coming out of the curve, I was tying up pretty badly, and the gap wasn't getting any smaller. I tried my hardest to stay loose and push all the way to the line, but my fast start was really costing me. I finished with a split of about 48.5, leaving us with a 317.27. It was not what we wanted, but it was a new school record, breaking one that had stood since 2005 and putting us in the top 35 in the nation. Here, Des was yelling to me that he thought we would have been 2 seconds faster if he hadn't gotten tripped, and I would not be shocked if he was right. This was a big win and a big loss, but most importantly, it was fast enough to get us to the second last chance meet at Mount Union. Once Monday came, we only had 3 days until the second last chance meet. Our big focus for the week was on handoffs because we aren't used to giving or receiving them with a bunch of other teams gathered around us, and coach wanted us to be as familiar with them as possible. So we did handoffs straight into racing a 300 meter rep. I got out harder than Des did, but he ran smart and moved to the outside of his lane, so I had to tuck in behind him. I tried to run very fast but relaxed all the way around the track. I think I made up a tiny bit of ground in the last 100 meters, but we all ran pretty similarly, so no one had a big dramatic overtake in this one. We didn't have a timer going, but it felt like we were absolutely moving on this rep. On Tuesday, with only 2 days till our competition, we touched on a little bit of speed work and did some more competitive handoffs. We wanted any little advantage we could get because we knew every second would matter in this second last chance meet. I felt really fast in these 30-meter fly reps, but we didn't have a timer set up, so I can't be sure what I was actually running. Then we went into our handoff work. We were focused and working hard, but these are also the times where you get to mess around and have some fun. For those of you who don't know, I just graduated, so these were some of my last days training as a collegiate athlete. Then we did handoffs into a competitive 150-meter start, running just like we were in the actual 4x4. I had a rough start and had to fight to get in position by the end of the rep. After that, we had 0 days left. It was go time. It was our last ever chance to go to nationals as a squad and prove what we were capable of doing. The crowd was a lot smaller here than at the last meet, which took away some of the nerves, but I was still freaking out. We found out pretty close to the start of the race that qualifying times had moved. Instead of 3:14.7, we now needed to run something like 3:13 mid. It was a long shot, but we were all prepared to give it our best attempt. Warming up, I felt great. If there was ever a time to run my fastest, this was definitely it. We had very similar competition to our last meet, which is to say, very good competition. Lining up on the track this time felt completely surreal. I had no idea if this would be my last time ever running a 4x4 relay. Bladen got out really well over the first 100 meters, but again, we have to keep in mind the guys he was racing against were absolute monsters, and one made up the stagger by only 150 meters in. Bladen pushed hard through the curve and actually started making his way back toward the front, but by the time he hit the last 100 meters, he had nothing left. The downside of being injured for half the season like he was is missing out on a ton of race-specific endurance work. These splits were really hard to see, and I apologize for the camera angle in this race, but I believe he split about a 50.43 as he handed off to Desmond in 4th place. Des got out nice and smoothly like he usually does, and then really started to hammer it down the back straight. He was absolutely flying, just like at the last race, this time without getting cut off, which is always a plus. He made up a lot of ground and understandably started dying off as he came into the home straight. Des handed off to Russell with a massive split of 48.14 as far as I could tell. Russell came out zooming, but you have to keep in mind all of these teams had better PRs and were just as hopped up on adrenaline as we were. Even though that was the case, Russell still started pulling up on the next teams as he approached the 200 meter mark and ended up getting stuck in a bad position. He tried to pass on the inside and got cut off a lot like Desmond did, so he had to pump the brakes and lose his momentum. Then he tried to pass on the outside coming around the curve, but he got held off and ended up falling back behind again. This is another case where things might have been really different if we had more experience being close to other teams in the 4x4, but unfortunately we're used to either being far ahead or far behind the other teams. He handed off with about a 48.97 split, still in 4th place. I tried my best to get out hard with my eyes yet again set on the exact same guy in front of me as last week. It literally felt like my feet weren't touching the ground around this curve, I was going so fast. I started reeling my competition in, but I couldn't get far enough ahead by the second curve, so I had to slow down a bit and tuck in behind him based on my unfortunate timing. I built up momentum around the curve and tried to launch past him as the track straightened out. I got right up on his hip, but he dropped into another gear and my body started giving out right at that moment. I didn't end up catching him and I split about a 48.49 as close as I could tell. That one hurt. I barely even had a season's best split. I looked up at the board and saw 3:16.38. We re-broke our own school record by 0.89 seconds, which was awesome, but this was super bittersweet. We didn't even manage to break 3:15 like we were hoping, and we definitely did not make nationals. We did run the second fastest time ever in the HCAC, which is our athletic conference, so that was pretty cool, but it was really tough feeling like we didn't measure up to our potential. Regardless, I was so thrilled to have been given this opportunity. I've had so much fun training with these guys over the last few years, and I'm so proud of everything they accomplished and that we accomplished together. I'm thankful to have them as my friends and as my fellow school record holders in 3 different relay events. Also, shout out to my coach for giving us this opportunity, believing in us, and working with us every step of the way. Finally, thanks to you guys for watching my journey so far. It has been incredible seeing all the support from you guys in the comments. I want to give a special shout out to, and forgive my pronunciation, Zayez, who has commented on almost every single video since day one. You're a legend, man. And that's it for season 1 of the Sub 48 project. I am far from done, and you can expect the next episode to drop at the beginning of July. Until then, I'll be releasing more educational content about sprint training, lifting, recovery, warm-ups, and more, so let me know if you have anything you'd like to see along those lines. Thank you for watching, and hopefully, I'll see you in the next one.